Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive drama unfolding in Port Charles on Wednesday, November 26th, where shocking proposals, brutal threats, and desperate warnings promise to shatter alliances and ignite family feuds like never before. Drew Kane's heartfelt moment takes center stage as he kneels before Willow Tate, presenting the cherished Lilla's heirloom ring that sparkles with decades of Quartermaine legacy and unspoken promises. This isn't just any proposal. Drew's eyes burn with determination, recalling their interrupted wedding vows from months past, now fueled by a renewed urgency to build a future amid Willow's cancer battle and Michael's iron grip on their shared children. Willow freezes, her heart pounding as memories of betrayal flood back. Will she slip the ring on, embracing a life with Drew that defies Port Charles' endless chaos, or hesitate, torn between love and lingering loyalty to her past? Analysts whisper this could redefine her path, thrusting her into a whirlwind of blended family tensions that echo the town's most legendary romances. Elizabeth Baldwin steps in as the voice of reason, cornering Michael Corinthos with pointed counsel that cuts through his simmering rage like a scalpel. Liz, drawing from her own history of custody wars and fractured bonds, urges Michael to loosen his protective stance and allow Willow's supervised visits with Wiley and baby Amelia, emphasizing how denial only deepens the emotional scars. Yet Michael's fury erupts like a storm, perhaps triggered by whispers of Willow's engagement news spreading through the Corinthos grapevine, or the fresh outrage over Rocco Falconeri's brutal treatment in juvie. Picture Michael slamming his fist on a table, veins bulging, as he vows to shield his kids at all costs. This standoff hints at a custody battle escalation, where old wounds from Nina's secrets reopen, testing Michael's resolve against the town's meddling matriarchs. Britt Westburn's visit to the Juvenile Detention Center uncovers bruises on Rocco Falconeri that tell a harrowing tale of playground justice gone wrong, her medical instincts flaring into protective fury. As Rocco's unofficial aunt figure, Britt kneels to inspect the swelling around his eye, her voice a mix of tenderness and steel. This place is a viper's nest. Kid, stay smart or it'll swallow you whole. She warns him against rash retaliation, fearing his impulsive streak could invite worse beatings or permanent records, especially with Sonny's heavy-handed intervention looming like a thundercloud. Britt's intuition screams backfire potential. If Rocco lashes out, it might torpedo Sonny's bailout efforts, forcing the Falconeri clan to rally in uncharted desperation and exposing cracks in their once unbreakable family armor. Sonny Corinthos unleashes his underworld menace on ADA Justine Turner in a dimly lit corridor, his gravelly ultimatum: release Rocco by Thanksgiving dawn, or I'll carve my own path through your red tape, delivered with the chilling calm of a man whose buried bodies and secrets alike. Fueled by paternal loyalty to Dandy's son, Sonny's pulling every string from crooked cops to shadowy fixers, all while concealing his role in Professor Henry Hank Dalton's vanishing act after framing the teen. Turner's hesitation stems from gut suspicions of foul play in Dalton's no-show, her career on the line if charges crumble. Sonny's threat isn't bluff. Envision him leaning in, gold chain glinting, promising repercussions that ripple from courtroom to coffins. This clash spotlights Sonny's evolution from mob boss to family crusader, but at what cost to his fragile truce with the law? Nathan West bursts into Lulu Spencer's home with urgent dispatches, his detective badge barely concealing the adrenaline. Packlight were wheels up now. No time for questions. Their hasty exit signals Sonny's bail machinations bearing fruit. A lightning-fast hearing potentially freeing Rocco just in time for turkey and truce. Lulu's maternal instincts clash with Nathan's protocol, their partnership crackling with unresolved sparks from past cases. If Ada Turner slashes charges, fearing Dalton's framed job, it could vindicate Rocco overnight. Yet shadows linger. Sonny's corpse cleanup demands airtight alibis, positioning Nathan as unwitting guardian of Port Charles' darkest truths, while Lulu grapples with forgiving her ex's vigilante justice. Liesl Obrecht corners Nina Reeves in a hushed Metro court booth, her Teutonic accent laced with demands. Wield your ink like a scalpel. Darling, expose this travesty before it claims another innocent. Liesel envisions a blistering crimson expose on Juvie Horrors, rallying public outrage to pressure Turner's office and immortalizing Rocco's plight in glossy headlines. Nina, juggling editor duties and family guilt, weighs the ethics. Her own confession later that she secretly backed Harrison Chase's pleas for Willow's leniency might sway her to act, bonding mother-daughter over shared rebellion. If Rocco's release hits first, Liesel pivots to Victory Labs, but this alliance underscores Nina's redemption arc, transforming tabloid queen into justice warrior amid Corinthos crossfires. Ava Jerome savors victory over Jen Sidwell after Measure C's defeat dashes his peer-grabbing dreams, but his retort, "Gracious losing isn't my style." Ava, "This war's just heating up," ignites a seductive alliance forged in mutual ambition. Sidwell, eyes gleaming with corporate vengeance, sketches blueprints for legal loopholes targeting Sonny's waterfront empire, pulling Ava into plots laced with champagne toasts and whispered strategies. Their chemistry simmers, a dangerous tango blending her Jerome flair with his tycoon ruthlessness. As bonds tighten, Ava risks Carly's wrath or Sonny's suspicion. This duo promises seismic shifts, eyeing Sonny's docks as the prize in Port Charles' next power play. Next, we will learn about the shocking twist with Britt Westburn's return from the grave and why fans are buzzing that this version of her is hiding a massive secret. In the chaotic streets of Port Charles, all attention has zeroed in on Nathan West's miraculous comeback from the dead, leaving his sister Britt Westburn strangely overlooked amid the suspicion swirling around her brother. While Nathan faces intense scrutiny from locals whispering about imposters and hidden agendas, Britt slips through the cracks unscathed, her odd behavior brushed aside like yesterday's headlines. This glaring imbalance screams, foul play. Could Britt actually be the true phantom, lurking in the shadows, masquerading as the doctor we once feared? Picture this: late-night meetings in dimly lit docks, cryptic notes exchanged under flickering lamps, and a Britt who dodges questions with rehearsed smiles that don't reach her eyes. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders hint at unexplained vanishings around the hospital where Britt now roams freely, fueling theories that she's pulling strings from behind an elaborate disguise. General Hospital enthusiasts can't shake the feeling that producers are masterfully distracting us with Nathan to protect Britt's darker game. Britt's fiery DNA legacy. Britt Westburn carries the scorching genetic blueprint of villains who dominate, not crumble. Her father, the ruthless Caesar Faison, orchestrated international crime rings with icy precision, while her mother, the cunning Liesel Obrecht, wielded scalpels and schemes like weapons of mass seduction. This isn't some fragile flower like Elizabeth Weber, who wilts under pressure with perpetual tears streaking her cheeks. The real Britt was a hurricane of intimidation, leaving rivals quaking and opponents in ruins. Yet today's Britt appears deflated, her signature mascara smudged not from battle, but from bouts of uncontrollable sobbing that clash with her bloodline's unbreakable steel. Imagine Faison watching from the shadows, shaking his head at this watered-down imposter who cowers instead of conquers. Perhaps she's a lab-engineered clone gone wrong, programmed to falter at key moments. Obrecht's influence alone should arm Britt with poisons, plots, and unyielding resolve, not this sniffling vulnerability that invites pity rather than terror. Fans speculate this shift signals a body snatcher scenario, where the real Britt's essence was swapped during her death, leaving a pale echo vulnerable to Port Charles predators. Her assassin romance exposed. Britt's heart has always beat for danger, tethered to Jason Morgan, the stone-cold mafia enforcer whose world demands lovers forged in fire. Not Fragility. Past episodes showed her matching his intensity stride for stride, plotting escapes and facing down rivals without flinching. She thrived in his orbit, a queen to his kingpin, trading bullets for bedroom glances in high-stakes hideouts from Spoon Island to the catacombs. But this returning Britt dissolves into puddles of desperation around Jason, climaxing in the November 21st episode where she pleaded for him to choose her above all. A simpering display alien to her core. No true Britt grovels. She'd leverage Jason's loyalty as a weapon, perhaps slipping him intel on Nathan's return to solidify her throne. This teary beggar act hints at an infiltrator, uncomfortable in her skin, maybe a hired spy from Faison's old network testing Jason's defenses. Deeper analysis reveals her touches linger too hesitantly. Her whispers lack the seductive venom that once hooked the hitman. Could this be a rival like Selena Wu's plant, designed to erode Jason's empire from within? The scheming doctor's missing edge. As a world-class physician and master manipulator, Britt's intellect should be dissecting her life-threatening meds like a predator toying with prey. Reverse engineering formulas in secret labs stocked with pilfered vials and black market synthesizers. The original Britt, med-dependent but never helpless, would have hoarded samples, bribed nurses, and brewed alternatives by midnight, turning victimhood into victory with spreadsheets of chemical breakdowns and contingency alliances. Instead, this version clings pathetically to shadowy suppliers and Jason's protection. A weeping shadow convinced her fate hinges on men rather than her own genius. Envision her in a hidden Metro court suite, surrounded by bubbling beakers and encrypted drives. The real Britt would have already synthesized a year's supply while eavesdropping on Obrick's calls for leverage. This passive portrayal defies logic. Perhaps she's a decoy crafted by Liesel to draw fire from Nathan, complete with fabricated tears to lower guards. GH writers thrive on such twists, but loyal viewers demand the firebrand who faked deaths and framed foes. Anything less reeks of substitution, urging us to question every glance and gasp. GH fans, sound off in the comments. Is this teary imposter Britt Westburn? Or has the real Britt been replaced by a clever zombie lacking her killer instincts? With Nathan's return amplifying the mystery, expect explosive revelations that could shatter Port Charles forever. Next, we will dive deep into the twisted labyrinth of Drew Kane's shooting and the mounting evidence that suggests this entire ordeal might be a meticulously orchestrated scheme designed to destroy Michael Corinthos. While the Port Charles Police Department scrambles through evidence and interrogates potential suspects, a growing wave of speculation among longtime viewers suggests that Drew himself could be the puppet master behind his own attempted murder, weaving a dangerous web of deception that threatens to engulf everyone in his orbit. The notion seems almost too sinister to contemplate, especially as we watch Drew fight for his life in those harrowing moments following the dual gunshots that pierced his back. Yet the behavioral patterns and psychological breadcrumbs scattered throughout recent episodes point toward a calculated conspiracy that would redefine the boundaries of daytime drama villainy. The first and most glaring red flag emerges from Drew's immediate reaction upon regaining consciousness in General Hospital's sterile, antiseptic-smelling recovery room, where instead of displaying the typical victim's terror or confusion, his eyes snapped open with a singular, laser-focused determination to implicate Michael as the trigger man. Medical professionals and trauma specialists universally document that gunshot victims typically experience profound disorientation, memory fragmentation, and an overwhelming primal need to understand who perpetrated such violence against them. Yet Drew exhibited none of these textbook responses. His priority wasn't self-preservation or identifying the actual assassin who nearly ended his existence, but rather weaponizing his victim's status as a strategic tool to eliminate his romantic rival. This aberrant psychological response suggests either a mind so clouded by obsessive hatred that it's bypassed rational survival instincts, or more likely, a man executing a premeditated script where Michael's downfall was always the intended endgame. The congressman's singular fixation on Michael's destruction, even at the potential cost of his own life, reveals the depth of his obsession with reclaiming Willow Tate's affections and the lengths he'll traverse to ensure Michael's permanent removal from her life. Delving deeper into the timeline of that fateful evening, we must reconstruct the events with forensic precision, examining each moment for clues that support this orchestrated attack theory. Michael Corinthostru, Quartermain. Michael. The complexity deepens when we analyze Drew's peculiar dismissal of other potential suspects, particularly the woman at the center of this triangle, Willow Tate, whose access to Drew and potential motives would make her a prime candidate in any objective investigation. When authorities gently broached the possibility that Willow's desperation to escape Drew's manipulative grasp might have driven her to violence, Drew's reaction transcended mere protective instinct and entered the realm of absolute, unwavering exoneration, as if he possessed insider knowledge that rendered such speculation absurd. Similarly, his lack of genuine concern regarding Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson, to individuals with their own complicated histories and potential axes to grind with the congressman, felt almost theatrical in its nonchalance. This selective suspicion, where only Michael bears the brunt of his accusatory focus, suggests a curated narrative rather than an authentic victim's desperate search for truth. A truly innocent victim would cast a wide net of suspicion, paranoid and hyper-vigilant, yet Drew's certainty implies foreknowledge. As if he's reading from a script where only Michael's name appears in the villain's role, Jordan Ashford's repeated observations about Drew's psychological state serve as the series' most deliberate meta-commentary on this unfolding mystery, functioning as the writer's wink to the audience that something is fundamentally amiss with this victim narrative. As Port Charles Police Commissioner, Jordan has witnessed countless trauma responses, from the catatonic shock of unexpected victims to the vengeful fury of those wronged. Yet Drew's complete absence of post-traumatic growth or even basic behavioral modification has left her professionally baffled. Her carefully worded comments, delivered with the weight of law enforcement experience, note that individuals who brush so close to death typically emerge with altered perspectives, reordered priorities, and a profound appreciation for life's fragility. Yet Drew has resumed his cutthroat political maneuvers and romantic obsessions with disturbing seamlessness. The fact that Jordan has voiced this observation on multiple occasions, each time with increasing emphasis, transforms her dialogue from casual commentary into what seasoned soap opera viewers recognize as a neon-lit clue. The writers are telegraphing Drew's artificial victimhood through Jordan's professional confusion, essentially having a character state the thesis of the storyline. This victim is not behaving like a victim, therefore he may not be one at all. The emotional core of this theory finds its most poignant contradiction in Drew's apparent indifference toward his daughter Scout Quartermain's potential orphaning, a narrative thread that should, by all dramatic conventions, be the beating heart of his recovery storyline. Any parent who has faced mortality typically becomes hyper-focused on their child's future, drafting wills, arranging guardianship, and showering their offspring with protective affection. Yet Drew has exhibited none of these instinctual parental responses. Scout's name barely crosses his lips unless prompted, and the monumental threat of leaving her fatherless seems to register as a minor inconvenience rather than an existential terror that should be reshaping his entire worldview. This emotional void suggests either a sociopathic disconnection from genuine parental bonds, or more likely within the context of our orchestrated theory, a man so consumed by his revenge plot that he's compartmentalized all genuine human concerns. Perhaps even more disturbingly, it could indicate that Drew's backup plan included arrangements for Scout's care that assuaged any real fear, arrangements made before the shooting ever occurred, further cementing the premeditated nature of this entire charade. The medical dimension of this conspiracy theory introduces perhaps the most chilling possibility, that Drew orchestrated not only the shooting itself, but also the subsequent medical response, creating a safety net that ensured his survival while maximizing the dramatic impact of his near-death experience. In the sophisticated world of Port Charles, where medical miracles and underground connections are as common as coffee at Kelly's, establishing a clandestine arrangement with a compromised medical professional or a corruptible surgeon is entirely within the realm of possibility. Drew could have engineered the shooting to avoid vital organs, calculated blood loss to appear life-threatening without crossing the point of no return, and prepositioned the medical team ready to intervene with specific, rehearsed protocols. The dual shots to the back, while visually horrifying, might have been precisely placed to create maximum dramatic effect with minimum actual mortality risk. A surgical strike on his own body designed for television consumption. This level of calculation would explain his calm demeanor post-waking he was never truly at risk, but rather performing the role of a man who had been, with General Hospital's medical professionals unwittingly playing supporting roles in his grand theater of revenge. An alternative, equally compelling interpretation posits that Drew did not orchestrate the shooting, but instead discovered the shooter's identity during those fleeting moments before losing consciousness. And the culprit is someone he's desperately protecting through this elaborate Michael framing scheme. The most emotionally devastating possibility, and one that fits perfectly within General Hospital's tradition of romantic tragedy, is that Willow herself pulled the trigger, either in a moment of desperate self-defense against Drew's escalating manipulation or through a tragic misunderstanding. Drew's obsessive love for Willow would certainly drive him to absorb that secret and redirect blame toward Michael, sacrificing his own integrity and potentially his freedom to ensure Willow's safety. This theory explains his instantaneous accusation of Michael as a pre-prepared cover story, his dismissal of Willow as a suspect as genuine protective instinct, and his overall lack of concern about the investigation as confidence that his framing will hold. The congressman becomes not a mastermind, but a tragic figure, willingly becoming the villain to preserve the innocence of the woman he loves. A classical soap opera archetype that has fueled decades of dramatic storytelling. As we stand on the precipice of this storyline's climax, the atmosphere in Port Charles grows increasingly electric with anticipation, each scene laden with the weight of impending revelation. General Hospital's pacing suggests that the truth, whether it reveals Drew as architect, protector, or genuine victim, will explode across our screens within the coming episodes, potentially reshaping family dynamics and romantic entanglements for years to come. The writers have masterfully constructed a multi-layered mystery where each theory carries equal dramatic weight, ensuring that whatever truth emerges will feel both surprising and inevitable. Whether Drew's conspiracy is exposed through a careless slip, Michael's countermaneuvering, or Jordan's relentless investigation, the revelation promises to be one of those watermark moments that longtime fans will reference for generations. So stay tuned, dear viewers, as we witness the unraveling of what might be General Hospital's most intricately twisted plot in recent memory, where the line between victim and villain dissolves into the morally ambiguous fog that makes daytime drama eternally captivating.